huge disclaimer before we get started. I'm not here to trash NCIS as a TV show, as a franchise, etc. I'm just here to point out shit that was done in the past where I just completely disagree with it. NCIS is literally my favorite show. Like, I've rewatched it like probably like 4 times. It's hard to keep up now. I am wearing my NCIS t-shirt. I have an NCIS mug downstairs. I don't really use it because it's tiny, and I use big boys like this one because it holds more coffee, which is good. Gibbs, who I don't know him. This show has been around since 2003, so a long fucking time. It's on its way to its 18th season. I'm very excited, by the way. But 2003, 2004, 2005 was a very different time in society, so things that were done back like 15 plus years ago were seen as like not being problematic. But nowadays, with the world the way it is, some shit's like, looking back, not great. To be honest, most of the things in the past NCIS has done, I'm talking about like characters, by the way, like I'm not into getting into drama of like creators and the actors and stuff. That's not what this is. I don't even know what this intro is. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think what I'm trying to say is that there were certain things that the show used to do that I'm glad they don't do anymore, or that they don't do as much anymore. Some of them are a bit more serious, such as like transphobia, which I will definitely get into, but some of the things are like a little bit more goofy, like not appreciating characters as much because I'm obsessed with said characters. I guess we'll just get into it. The first thing is like Ducky looking directly into the camera as if he's like talking to like the dead body in Autopsy. He does this a lot. Like in season 1, I think he did it like at least in 5 episodes. And it just made me feel icky. Like, it's not even like problematic, it's just more like a stylistic choice, a director choice that I disagree with, because it just made me feel like I was a dead body, and I did not like that. I think they've stopped doing that. Well, Ducky's not even an Emmy anymore. That's Palmer's job, my king. Secondly, fat shaming Mickey. No. I don't know if I specified this, but I'm only talking about seasons 1 and 2 because I watched season 3 and there wasn't really much going on problematic wise. It was pretty much just ongoing from shit that happened in seasons 1 and 2. For example, casual sexism and fat shaming, etc., which existed in seasons 1 and 2 more prominently, because back then shit like that was acceptable, but now not so much. Fat shaming towards Mickey in season 2 episode 18. He gets chased through a car wash and his clothes are like soaked in all sudsy from the soap and stuff, so he changes into his gym clothes and Denozo and Kate are having a ball. They think it's the funniest thing. I don't really understand why. He doesn't even look fat. He doesn't look fat. Like, he just looks normal. Just like a guy in a tank top and shorts. Like, I understand if it was in the context of like, I don't know, like you used to seeing him in a suit and then suddenly he's in gym clothes and that's like the funniest thing to you. But then Denozo says something along the lines of, your gym clothes are the only thing that was clean. Who would have thought? And Kate's just having a great time, just laughing her head off. He looks perfectly fine. Yeah, he was a bit heavier in seasons 1, 2, up until I don't remember what season, but he started losing weight and he now looks really good. He looked fine before, but I mean, I'm glad that he did something. Like the actor Sean Murray did something about his weight. Just my long-winded way of saying fat shaming ain't good, son. Especially when he's like not like morbidly obese or anything. Next of all, we have sexism towards Kate. We love it when we see sexism against the only female agent. So in season 1 episode 7, Kate and Gibbs are on a submarine and they're both like standing up and then the submarine like I don't know, tips over or something. And then they both kind of like topple against a wall and they're like kind of leaning up against each other, and then the submarine gets back to like normal state. And then Kate says, wow. Oh god. And then Gibbs says, yeah, that's what they all tell me. And it's literally disgusting. And the other submarine person there is like laughing and is like, ooh, it's something going on. It's just fucked up more than anything. It's gross. Like, as much as I love Gibbs, sometimes he's just not the greatest human being. And I'm not talking about him being a tough boss. Like, I've had tough bosses before and they're my favorite type of bosses, to be completely honest. Bosses, coaches, teachers. I love it when they're tough, but also like fair, because then I'm like learning from them. And that's why like the agents and stuff will love Gibbs, because he's tough, but he teaches them along the way how to be a better detective, all the Gibbs rules and everything. But I just think that's crossing a line, especially in terms of like seniority and everything. Season 1, episode 22, the team were interviewing I think it was like the victim's wife or something, and the wife asks Kate if she's married, and Kate says no, and Denozo, when they're back in the car, says, huh, interesting how she pegged you for being unmarried, which is so weird, because like, what's the relevancy? Tony's not married and no one gives a shit, but Kate not being married is like a big deal. And then Denozo being sexist again, yay, we love that for Denozo. In season 2, episode 3, Denozo says to Kate, am I detecting a little PMS? I thought that wasn't until next week. Hey, it's a high stress job. You carry a gun. I need to know when you're not your best. You don't say that to a woman, ever. And it's also creepy how he knows her cycle. And also, as a side note, Denozo was like kind of the worst. Just like sexist, a little bit racist towards Eva. Not the greatest human being, but we all, like myself included, we all kind of let it slide because he was and still is quite attractive. I feel like if another character, like, I don't know, Dornigat, for example, did shit like that, it would be seen as creepy, but because it's Denozo, a conventionally attractive guy, we're all just like, oh, who fucking cares? Like, that's just his sense of humor, but it's not funny. One, like, kind of little, I don't know, funny thing, it's not even problematic or bad or anything. It's just something I wish the team wouldn't do. They all interrupt Ducky's stories when he's telling his stories about like, oh yes, in my youth in Scotland Yard or whatever. I'm sure he has a lot of interesting stories, because he's like, to me, he's just like an adorable grandpa. In the show, I don't think he has any grandkids or kids or anything. But he just seems like he would be such an adorable grandfather to, you know, tell all these interesting stories. And I'm guessing he tells them all to people at work because he doesn't have anyone at home to talk to about them. And they all just like either walk away from him, hang up, something like that. But it makes me sad because I want to hear what Ducky has to say. Next, we have a scene where Tony is inappropriate as fuck. There's lots of them, but this one particularly stuck out to me. In season 1, episode 12, Tony is trying to read like a name badge of a woman's name because he's trying to hit on her. And he like puts his eyes, like in his face, pretty much right up to her boob to read it. I mean, the girl seemed into it because she seemed to be attracted to him too, so it wasn't like weird on her part or his part because they were both consenting adults. But again, if someone like Dornigat tried to do it, or even McGee, it would be weird and creepy. Literally any other character tried to do that, it would be highly frowned upon. Next one we have is kind of more serious. It's transphobia. There are two cases of this happening. The first one, it's hard to tell if it's actually transphobia because the character wasn't actually trans. It was a man like dressing up as a woman, or not dressing up as a woman, like turning himself into a woman so then he could escape the police because they were a murderer and they wanted to change their identity so then they could get away with it. The second case is like actually transphobic. Anyway, I'll just get into it. So in season 1 episode 19, there's a victim. No, that's the episode that Pochi gets murdered. Pochi was investing a cold case of a Navy person who was supposedly killed in a car crash, but they were suspected of stealing money, like millions of dollars, and the only connection that they had was this woman of the name Amanda. And it turns out that like Amanda is the supposed person, like the Navy person that was supposedly killed in the car crash, but it wasn't actually them. It was just like another body. But anyway, Navy person transitions into a woman. They didn't have, you know, the surgery or anything yet, and I don't know if they actually had body dysphoria or whatever because it was never stated. It was only like one episode. Before the team finds out, Denozo is trying to hit on Amanda because she is a very beautiful woman and Tony loves hitting on beautiful women, and they end up going on a date. Then the team finds out that Amanda is the Navy person. The only thing Kate focuses on is that Tony's on a date with a guy instead of the fact that he's on a date with the person that murdered Pochi. I mean, I feel like I would be more focused on the fact that my teammate was on a date with a murderer and I would go and save them instead of being like, ahaha, Tony's dating a man. And then at the end of the episode, you know, the murderer is caught. Amanda is caught. She's actually killed because she tries to kill Gibbs, and Gibbs is like, not today, honey. But anyway, end of the episode, Tony, you know, poor Tony. But Kate, at the end of the episode, Kate asks Tony, what was it like tonguing a guy? I just feel weird about that. And it's constantly brought up in like the series as a joke, like in season 2. I don't know if it's brought up after that. I think they kind of stopped, which I'm grateful for because it just seems weird that they would continue talking about it. But it's kind of brought up as a joke as like Tony going on a date with a man, insinuating that like Tony's gay as if that's a bad thing. But technically Tony didn't go on a date with a man. It was like a Navy sailor person, sure, biologically a man, but they were going to transition to be a woman, Amanda. I just don't know how to feel about that because I don't know if it's actually transphobic or not, but it definitely shows that they all think it's funny that Tony went on a date with a man. Second case, definitely transphobia because the victim was actually trans. So in season 2 episode 17, a Navy sailor, his name was Benjamin Horlocker, he is actually hiding the fact that he is actually trans and is a woman, and we discover that because like before he shoots himself, he's like dressed just like a man, you know, conventional man, whatever, but his wardrobe has like women's clothes and stuff, and he lies to the detective saying that he had an ex-girlfriend and she hasn't picked up her stuff yet. But then once he kills himself, it's revealed that he's actually trans and that she is actually a woman, and she likes to, you know, wear lipstick, wear dresses, all that good stuff. But all of the team, essentially, except for Kate, and I think except Ducky, are misgendering her and keep calling her a him. And Kate keeps saying, her, and then everyone else is like him. Gibbs again calls the victim a he, she, which is extremely insensitive because he's literally next to the dead person. Yikes. Moving on from the seriousness of that one, we have the underappreciation of Jimmy Palmer. He's easily my favorite character in the show. There's just so many funny moments within the series. He's just great. He's very funny, he's kind, he's sweet. I wish we had more screen time of him. It made my heart very happy in season 10 when he was made like a regular cast member. Two of my favorite scenes of his, one was in like season 3, I think, when if I explain it, it's gonna make me sound like an actual creepy person, but I think it's in season 3, I can't remember which episode, he is getting a tissue sample of a person's like head or something for Abby, and then he looks at Abby and he says, "So, white meat or dark?" It's just like the delivery. It sounds creepy and like it is, but it's just so funny. And then we have, it's either season 6 or season 7, when he has like a he has a pumpkin, and then he like fills it up with liquid nitrogen to demonstrate something to Gibbs. I can't remember what, but it was a Halloween episode. That's all I remember. It was a very good episode. And he then like drops the pumpkin. It's so stupid, but like, he's just so funny. He's like people say DiNozzo's the comic relief, but I honestly think it's Jimmy. He's so funny and he's just so adorable, and he's like not sexist, which we can't really say about DiNozzo. Speaking of which, DiNozzo's like low-key an asshole. During the whole episode of season 202, which is called The Good Wives Club, he's just kind of the worst. Like, it's nothing like he says specifically, it's just kind of like the way he treats McGee and just like the way he talks and stuff. I just don't like it, and I never liked it. Like, the first time I watched it, I was like, DiNozzo, man, what the fuck are you doing? Season 2, episode 4, when he is with Kate and he is, what's the word? Like, going around to bars and asking, like, people at bars if they've seen a certain victim, because, the victim's a Jane Doe. It's in the episode, Lieutenant Jane Doe, and he tries to hit on a waitress, but it doesn't work because if she were into him, it wouldn't have come off creepy, but in this instance, it comes off very creepy. And I'm pretty sure she was a lesbian because it was like a lesbian bar, so I'm just going to assume that she was a lesbian. I hope she was a lesbian. I don't know, representation. Like, he's trying to hit on the waitress and saying like, oh, so you're in here instead of at the beach in a thong, and he keeps going on about like her in a thong, and it's just really creepy. Yeah, he's like kind of the worst. Last one is in season 2, episode 8, when Kate shoots an innocent man because like it was technically suicide by cop, because the suspect doesn't want to live, and he goes to shoot Gibbs, so then in hopes that like Kate would shoot him, and she does, and they thought for sure that he was like the killer or whatever, but then when Kate finds out that he wasn't, she's upset, which is understandable. If you shot an innocent person, you would feel like shit, but then Gibbs tells Kate to get over it, which, again, Gibbs, what are you doing? I wanna love you, but you're kind of a piece of shit sometimes. I said that was the final thing, but something that didn't really happen in like seasons 1 and 2, but it's kind of like a through thread. I don't think that's the right term, but something that's kind of like weaved into NCIS is killing off characters that haven't been on the show for a number of years. So we have the examples of Mike Franks, Diane Fornell, Tobias Fornell's wife, and Gibbs's ex-wife, former director in seasons 1 and 2, director Tom Morrow. That's still the funniest thing to me. And lastly, one of my favorite side characters, Ned Dornigat. I'm gonna say it was homophobia. It wasn't actually homophobia, by the way. I kind of said it on Reddit. That was good. That was right. I said it on Reddit. I said on Reddit as a joke, I'm like, killing off Dornigat was homophobia at its finest, and then everyone was like, no, he's not gay. I'm like, yeah, he was. He said it in an episode. I can't remember which one. I think it was in like season 8 or 9. I hope we get another gay character on the show that isn't just like, I don't know, a victim or something. My personal vote is Casey Hines, I think that's her name, the new forensic scientist, because in real life she's gay and she's married to a woman. So if we had a storyline of like her having a girlfriend or something, that would make me very happy. If the writers of NCIS are watching this, please make it happen. Thank you so much. I think that's it from me. Again, I just want to reiterate, I am not trashing the show at all. It is literally my favorite show. It is in part probably the biggest reason why I am studying criminology at the moment. There are some very like interesting characters, very good storylines. This show will make you laugh, it'll make you cry. There's so many emotions that are happening, and I constantly rewatch it whenever like the next season that comes out is over, because it gives me something to do in the meantime. So I love this show with my entire heart. I'm just saying that 15 plus years ago, some shit was acceptable back then that's not acceptable now, and I'm here to be like, hey, that shit wasn't great, and I'm glad you've stopped doing that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, social distance, and think about what would Gibbs do. Bye!